Welcome to Cash Chats with me, Andy Webb from BeCleverWithYourCash.com. This is the podcast to help you make the most of your money. In episode 376, I'll be taking you through my top 10 credit card hacks. I'll be taking you through how to beat the latest Spotify price hikes, and I'll be going through which apps and websites I think you should be using when you're booking a train. All of that and my deals of the week, so make sure you stay tuned right at the end for that. But let's get into it. This is episode 376 of Cash Chats. Now, when you're booking a train ticket, you probably know some of the tricks that might help you save some money. You could book it at least 12 weeks in advance if you know you're going to travel. That'll help bring the price down. You can often split tickets. I'm not always the biggest fan of this, but the split ticket is where you're going on a journey from A to B, but your ticket actually goes to C, first of all, and then from C to B. Often the same seat on the same train. Sometimes you have to change trains, but that can bring prices down. Loads of different ways you can do that. I'm not going to talk about those right now. I want to talk about the actual apps and websites you use to make those bookings. I'm going to tell you, first of all, the ones that I won't use, a couple there in particular, which are very popular, but there are reasons not to use them. And then I want to talk about a couple which I think are worth taking a look at. Let's start off with the ones to avoid. And the big one to avoid is trainline.com. Now, I know most people think, oh, just buy a ticket on Trainline. And there are lots of really good features on the app. I do really like the ability to be notified when advance tickets are going to go on sale, which is really handy. So some of them have that like variation, particularly what day it's going to be, what week it is. So that's a really good feature. And sometimes there are special offers. Maybe I've seen deals where there's, £10 off a season ticket, really cheap rail cards. All these given offers, they're worth looking at for those, but general day-to-day booking of tickets are best avoided. And the main reason for this is when you use Trainline, you're going to get hit by a fee. Now, you don't get them on the day of booking. The day of traveling itself, if you book a ticket, you don't get a fee. But of course, ideally, you want to avoid that anyway, because that's when tickets are most likely to be the most expensive they can be. So any other time, you'll get hit by fees. So you want to avoid that. And also, the other kind of little perks you can get here or there, that you might see them on Top Cashback or Quidco, the rates you're going to get are very low compared to some of the alternatives out there. So overall, I would say stay clear of Trainline. Don't use it unless you really, really have to for whatever reason. Special offer, something like that. Even its split ticketing function, which it has, can be beaten by other places which do split ticketing. And actually on split ticketing, I would just say this, some of these apps offer it, some of them don't. You can use others which give you that feature and then use the information they give you to make a booking somewhere else if you want to. Whether that's the big guys, you might be less of an issue because they get loads of money other places. If it's some of those smaller sites that do this, then the way they make money is via the booking. So you might not want to necessarily do that. But certainly, Trainline doesn't work for me as a booking site. And there are many, many others like this, which don't do much that's particularly special other than occasional offers. TrainPal, again, I wouldn't be using TrainPal unless there is a big offer. I used those for a Eurostar booking recently because there was a big discount available. That's great, but day-to-day bookings is not going to be the one to go for. So where do you go? Well, as a general rule of thumb, if you're booking directly with the rail operator themselves, you won't get charged a booking fee. So that's a good start. Just keeping it nice and simple. Whoever that is around the country, there's no booking fees, not just for their own trains, but also any of the different providers. You're not limited to just buy Northern trains on the Northern website. You're not limited just to Avanti trains on Avanti website. You can buy them for all the different journeys around the UK. So that's a good place to start. And I definitely think if wherever you live in your local area, do sign up for emails from them because there might be the occasional flash sale, which means you can get cheap tickets for those journeys you're going to be making on a regular basis. But there's one that wins above all of those, and that's LNER, because LNER will give you, if you're traveling on the LNER routes themselves, which are not going to be every time, you're earning 2% cash back, which is great. So that's got it better than any of those. Of course, if you're not traveling on an LNER train, what's the point of that? Well, LNER is the one. When I've looked at all the different banking apps, whether that's American Express, Monzo, Lloyds, Halifax, whoever it might be, you're more likely to see an offer you can activate to earn cash back on LNER than any of the others, and more likely to have a higher cashback rate. Now, this does vary. Sometimes there are none of these available. It does depend how many current accounts or credit cards you've got which offer this feature. And you do have to remember to go in to activate it on pretty much all of those different times when this runs. But I'm normally able to get 8 or 10% back on my bookings via the LNER app, via one of my connected debit cards. I do think actually Lloyds and Halifax in particular tend to have those ones there, which are pretty much universal. You only get one redemption, but then you might have to wait until it comes back again. Or if, like me, you've got both a Lloyds and a Halifax account, that gives you the potential to do 2 bookings every couple of months if you need to. And how often some of us might be traveling quite a lot, but some of us might be traveling more irregularly. So that's really good. Sometimes these offers, I've seen this happen more and more recently, they've required a minimum spend of around 70 quid, which is fine for some of those. Well, sadly, with trains we know they are so expensive. Fine for a lot of the longer journeys, not great for shorter ones, in which case that might not be so well. But have a look. And when you look at these offers, your different bank accounts, do keep an eye out. You might find a Virgin Trains discount. You might find a Trainline one of those, so not to bother with them so much. But if you see a decent cashback to your card offer on there, then obviously use that maybe to lead how you book. And that's what I do most of the time, particularly because I'm on the LNER route. So I'm taking LNER trains a lot, so I'm able to double stack those discounts together. But there is one which I think is possibly looking at above all of those. And again, this has an opportunity for you to double dip a couple of discounts. And this is Uber. So Uber isn't just for, can't say taxi journeys, taxi drivers don't like you saying Uber's a taxi, but minicab journeys via Uber or Uber Eats. You can also book other kinds of travel. They've recently introduced flights on there as well. But trains has been going for most of this year, if not later than last year as well. And every time you book with the Uber app for your train journeys, you will get 10% credits back to your Uber account. Now, this is an offer that is regularly extended. It was due to finish originally in May. It's recently been extended to finish in August. There were previous days when to finish earlier in the year, so they do tend to keep extending it. But I would definitely just check before you book it that offer is still running, because they could put it obviously at any time. But at the moment, at the time of recording this, they are saying end of August, that 10% credit comes back to your Uber account. And that could be used for future train bookings or Uber Eats or Uber journeys, whatever it might be. Now, obviously, you do then have to just bring you back to using that platform. Unlike the 10% cashback or 8% cashback you might get from your bank, which just goes to your account, this will bring you back there. But it lasts for a decent chunk of time. I think it's about 6 months you've got to use it. So as long as you're going to be making a journey again in that time, then you aren't going to lose out there. And that's pretty good. And I say 10% back there is the same as maybe if you can get that 10% back via LNER. But then I said you can double stack this. And the way you double stack this is by buying an Uber gift card. Now, this should absolutely work. Maybe the first time you do it, you get like a cheaper one just to check that it's going to work. But you can buy discounted Uber gift cards from the likes of Hyperjar, Cheddar, Jam Donut, probably Top gift cards as well, which is part of Top Cashback. Add it to your account. You can use it for anything, obviously, on the Uber app. But you do that, you've already got one discount, and then you're able to get this 10% credit back as well via Uber journeys on the train travel. So absolutely, they're the ones I'd be looking at for your train bookings. If you want more information on all of these apps, plus many of the other ones which we've not spoken about right now, we've got a full analysis over at becleverwithyourcash.com, and I will link to that in the show notes as well. Now, if you are listening to this episode of podcast on YouTube or even watching it on YouTube, then the next two sections are on separate videos. You'll be able to click on the links we put up above, or just wait to the end of the full episode, because don't forget, got deals of the week in a second, and you'll be able to find these episodes on the channel, these separate videos. First of all, we're looking at my top 10 credit card hacks. These are the simple things that you can be doing when applying, using, and even possibly closing credit cards that elevate it to the next level. These aren't the basics. These are little extra tricks to make you earn more points, get greater rewards, boost that credit score even faster. And then I'm looking at the latest increases to Spotify's prices. Yes, they've done it again. Prices have gone up, but there are a few ways you can beat this by reducing what you pay every single month, whether you buy standalone premium or you have options to add more accounts and extending that in some of the other products. But let's get into the deals of the week now for episode 376 of Cash Chats. First one to tell you about is a heads up. I've spoken about it in more detail before, so I'm not going to go through in all the information now. But First Direct's bank switching deal, currently the only one still around, £175. That ends on the 22nd of April. That is the last date to start the switching process. You apply for the account, start the switch, that's fine. You then got more time to complete the switch and all the other criteria which I've detailed in previous episodes. So you're interested in that, do go for that. Do check out the article and the video with more information, and obviously did feature it in the podcast as well. Another banking offer is from Santander. They've got a new deal for people aged 20 to 25. We've been talking about train ticket savings in this episode. Well, this one, if you open up a brand new account with them, that could be the everyday account, the Edge, or the Edge Up, you will get a free 4-year rail card. So again, you could be anywhere up to the age of 25, you will be eligible for this. It will last for 4 years. That rail card will give you a third off peak travel. So it's definitely worth considering if you don't already have one of those Santander accounts and you do fit in within that age range. Some entertainment deals for you. There's yet another one of those Apple TV Plus welcome offers for both new and previous customers. This is 3 months this time. So I've never paid for Apple TV. I've had it probably 3/4 of the year every year since it got launched. And this is another great one that you can add to your account. But if you're in Sky, if you have Sky TV, you can actually get 6 months free added on. Information about both of those over at becleveryourcash.com. I should say everything we speak about now, becleveryourcash.com is where you will find all that information. Prime users, you might not be aware of it, but you also get a limited number of free Kindle books every single month under something called Prime Reading. Most of the time, the titles aren't that amazing. There's some old classics in there. Say classics, I mean like the Harry Potters and stuff, but most of the time, they're kind of those books which are, well, they're not saying I've not read them, they could be good, but they're not necessarily ones that you're going to kind of be really excited about. But I had a look the other day, and actually there's 2 titles which I've just read over the last sort of year, Cloud Cuckoo Land and Magpie. Neither of them are actually about birds. They've got birds in the titles. They're both really good books, and they're free to use via the Kindle if you have Amazon Prime. So do check that out and maybe see what other titles are on there. Often the ones that are on there do change every month, so don't leave it too long because come May, those books might have been gone. And finally, if you are a keen gardener or like visiting gardens, then pick up this month's issue of Gardener's World magazine because it will come with a 2-for-1 pass, which gets you entry to a huge number of those attractions around the UK for a year. There will be some restrictions about when you can go to some of them, but certainly worth picking that up if you think you're going to visit 1 or 2 gardens this year. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Cash Chats. Don't forget, we are also now on YouTube, both this Tuesday episode and our extra episode every single week, Your Money This Week, taking you through the big money stories from the last 7 days. That is actually first on YouTube. You get that on Thursday night on YouTube, Friday morning on all your podcasting apps. So do check us out there if you don't already. Until next time, cheers.